Table of Contents. GS Paper 2. Constitutional challenge to the 2019 application of Article 370, limited internet shutdowns, and their impact on India and the European Union. Content for Mains Enrichment. India's first captive breeding success story in Assam Zoo. Facts for Prelims FFP. New Ayush visa category for foreign nationals. Time of date told Tariff Food Manufacturing Practices TMP Standards Sarkar 20. Smart Corn GMO. Saving Vultures. Ban on Isclofenac and Ketoprofen Ban Raksha Bharataluza's FCRA permit. Mapping. Johannesburg, South Africa. Constitutional challenge to the 2019 application of Article 370 GS Paper 2. Syllabus. Constitutional provisions. Source. IE. Context. The Supreme Court began hearings on the constitutional challenge to the 2019 application of Article 370, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir. What is Article 370? Article 370 was a provision in the Indian Constitution that granted special autonomy and privileges to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It allowed the state to have its own constitution, flag, and autonomy over most matters except foreign affairs, defense, and communications. This article was abrogated in 2019, revoking the special status of Jammu and Kashmir and integrating it fully into the Indian Union. Why was Article 370 abrogated in 2019? Article 370 was abrogated in 2019 to fully integrate the state of Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian Union and remove its special autonomy. The Indian government stated that this move aimed to promote economic development, better governance, and equal rights for all citizens across the region, while critics expressed concerns about the potential erosion of cultural and political distinctiveness. The present argument in the Supreme Court regarding Article 370. Article 370 is part of the Constitution's temporary, transitional and special provisions section and is titled Temporary Provisions with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The provision outlines that the President can declare it inoperative, making it commonly seen as temporary. However, the petitioners argue that its temporary nature is due to the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly's role, 1951-1957, in recommending changes. Once the Constituent Assembly ceased to exist in 1957, the provision was argued to have become a permanent feature. The central question that SC will decide is whether Parliament has the power to abrogate Article 370 after 1957 when the Constituent Assembly was no longer in existence. The argument for favour and against. Arguments in favor of removing Article 370. Arguments against removing Article 370. Temporary provision. Article 370 is titled Temporary Provisions with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. This suggests it wasn't meant to be permanent. Original agreement. The accession of Jammu and Kashmir to India was based on certain terms, with Article 370 being central. Self-contained exit. Article 373 allows for the President to declare the article inoperative, indicating a mechanism for its removal. Temporary. Misunderstood. The term temporary in Article 370 refers to the period when JNK's Constituent Assembly created its constitution, 1951-1957, not the article's lifespan. Uniformity. Removal can lead to the uniform application of Indian laws to Jammu and Kashmir, integrating it fully with India. Constituent Assembly's role. Clause 3 of Article 370 mandated that any change to the relationship between J&K and India needed the J&K Constituent Assembly's recommendation. Development and growth. Some believe removal can boost the region's development, as it would get equal attention and opportunities like other states. End of Constituent Assembly. Since the Constituent Assembly ceased to exist after 1957, the power to alter Article 370 also ended, making the article permanent. Preservation of identity. Article 370 ensured J&K maintained its unique identity and relationship with India. Conclusion. As the ongoing Supreme Court hearing unfolds, it's evident that finding a balanced resolution that respects historical agreements while considering contemporary realities is crucial for the future of the region. The 4th of August 2023, Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir, today's article, limited internet shutdowns and their impact. GS Paper 2. Syllabus, Government Policies and Interventions. Source, i.e. Context. The idea of limited internet shutdowns is gaining traction as a way to control riots and security threats while allowing beneficial use of the internet. However, there is no study by the Indian government or any state government to assess the effectiveness of these shutdowns. What is limited internet shutdowns? It refers to the intentional restriction or blocking of access to the internet, often specific websites or online services, within a defined geographic area or for a specified period of time. This is done as a response to security threats, social unrest, or public emergencies, with the aim of controlling the flow of information and communication. G. This has been applied in Manipur violence and recent Haryana communal violence. Status of India on internet shutdown. According to a report by Access Now and the Digital Coalition, India enforced as many as 84 internet shutdowns in 2022. It was on top of the list for the 5th year in a row. In 2022, the internet was shut down 49 times in Jammu and Kashmir, the highest of any state in the country. Constitutional articles and internet shutdown. Internet-related rights are protected by Articles 19(1)(a), freedom of speech and expression, and 19(1)(g), freedom of trade and commerce. Exceptions, restrictions on these rights should follow the guidelines of Articles 19(2) and 6 and adhere to the principle of proportionality. Proportionality test. It assesses whether governmental actions justifiably infringe on individual rights. Legal ground. Internet shutdown orders are regulated by the Temporary Suspension of Telecom Services, Public Emergency or Public Safety Rules, 2017, which fall under the Indian Telegraph Act 1885. These rules allow for the temporary suspension of telecom services in a specific area during public emergencies. Senior officials from the Home Ministry at both central and state levels are authorized to issue shutdown orders. SC Judgment and Amendments on Internet Shutdown. In Anuradha Bhasin vs Union of India, 2020, SC stated indefinite internet shutdowns are illegal, requiring necessity and proportionality. The Union government amended 2017 rules in November 2020, capping shutdowns at 15 days. In December 2021, the Standing Committee on Communication and IT proposed further amendments. The committee suggested a comprehensive review of rules, technology-oriented changes, and uniform guidelines for states, UTs to minimize public disruption. Impact of Internet Shutdown. Impact of Internet Shutdowns examples. Communication disruption. A recently released United Nations-backed report by OHCHR has highlighted that shutting down the Internet affects people's safety and well-being, hampers information flow and harms the economy. Businesses are unable to conduct online transactions, affecting e-commerce and communication with clients. Information flow disruption. Limited access to news websites, hindering access to timely and accurate information. Inability to access educational resources, affecting students' learning during shutdowns. Economic impact. Loss of revenue for businesses relying on online operations and services. Impediments to remote work, affecting productivity and economic activity. Social and political impact. Inability to organize protests or rallies via social media, affecting freedom of expression and assembly. Government control over information flow during sensitive events, limits public awareness. Human rights concerns. Violation of freedom of speech and expression, undermining democratic values. Infringement on the right to access information crucial for making informed decisions. Educational disruption. Students unable to attend online classes, disrupt education during shutdowns. Lack of access to online educational resources and platforms. Healthcare and emergency impact. Impaired access to telemedicine services and health information during critical times. Delays in accessing emergency services or assistance due to disrupted communication. Global perception negative impact on a country's image, raising concerns about digital rights and freedom. International criticism for hindering access to information and communication. Addressing internet shutdowns requires a balanced approach that respects security and rights. Adhere to legal standards. Follow clear legal grounds and constitutional principles of necessity and proportionality. Transparency. Provide transparent justifications for shutdowns and hold authorities accountable. Measures. Specific, time-bound shutdowns. Avoid blanket measures. Alternatives. Consider content removal or service restrictions instead of full shutdowns. Judicial oversight. Ensure judicial review, preventing misuse as seen in Anuradha Masih's case. Stakeholder engagement. Collaborate with civil society, businesses, and experts for balanced guidelines. Digital literacy. Educate citizens about rights, safe practices, and shutdown consequences. UN's OHCHR recommendations. Stop imposing internet shutdowns. It may be the last recourse but should be used rarely for legitimate reasons. Legitimate shutdown. Need to control the spread of hate speech, syllabus, energy, nuclear challenges to internal security, indigenization of technology. Source, i.e. Context. The article discusses the timeline of India's nuclear journey as well as its advantages. Timeline of India's nuclear journey. Year event. 1947 India gains independence. 1948 Atomic Energy Act was passed, establishing aid. 1950 Nehru's dual intent strategy on nuclear power. 1964 China conducts its first nuclear test. 1974 India conducts its first nuclear test, Smiling Budva. 1985 US President R. Reagan tells Rajiv Gandhi about Pakistan's 1989 Rajiv Gandhi approves the development of nuclear weapons. 1998 India conducts nuclear tests, Operation Shakti. 1999 Kargil conflict between India and Pakistan. 2005 Indo-US nuclear deal negotiations begin. 2008 Indo-US nuclear deal ratified by nuclear suppliers. Present India maintains a policy of credible minimum deterrence and global nuclear disarmament. India's nuclear doctrine presented in 1999 since Pokhran highlighted a credible minimum deterrence (CMD) and a no first use (NFD) policy, while concurrently supporting non-nuclear The sole purpose of India's nuclear deterrence is to deter adversaries' use or threat of use of nuclear weapons. The policy changed India's image at the US, once an adversary of India's nuclear program, signed a civil nuclear deal with India in 2008, acknowledging India as a responsible nuclear player. India's three-stages nuclear program. Performance of India's three-stage nuclear power plant. India's three-stage nuclear power program was formulated by Homi Bhabha in the 1950s to secure the country's long-term energy independence through the use of uranium and thorium reserves found in the monazite sands of coastal regions of South India. Three-stage nuclear plant. The first two stages, natural uranium fuel heavy water reactors and plutonium fuel fast breeder reactors, are intended to generate sufficient fissile